Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Guillaume here, and I'm super lucky. I'm surrounded by Mr. Ron Thorn, principal master builder at the Fender Custom shop.
Pleasure.
Pleasure to
Thank you.
have you here, and Mr. Phil McKnight, Stratocaster
Nice to meet you, Ron, too.
connoisseur. Can I say that? Connoisseur? Connoisseur? How do you say it? Like,
you
that's
say
a French word, so I'd go connoisseur. Connoisseur?
Connoisseur.
Connoisseur. Are you trying to say connoisseur?
Yeah.
Finally, I'm not screwing up a word.
I'm not screwing it up. It's a French word. I'm saying it the right way. I think I am, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, and I thought it'd be like the most amazing opportunity to talk about my favorite guitar, which just happens to be their favorite guitar as well.
Yes.
The Stratocaster. All right, let's start easy. What is it? Why is it your favorite guitar? Why is it the one that you chose to be building?
Well, how about on a personal level?
On a
personal
we're
level,
only
I
talking
love the
personal.
Strat, and I don't. It's definitely not one element. It's aesthetics. It's the comfort, the feel, the ergonomics, and the tone, of course. Love the tone. So those three things. That's really what a guitar is all about: the feel, the touch, and the sound, and it tastes good. Figured I'd try to. I just try to cover all the senses.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you're supposed to eat them, but...
No,
All right, let's talk about the difference between nitro and poly in taste.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I like nitro. Tastes better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
over baked maple,
Yeah.
most delicious.
Phil,
Yeah.
your turn.
Strats for me is a interesting thing because I was playing guitar for probably 15 years before I even bought a Strat. You know what I mean? It was I was late to the game. You know what I mean? But here's what I figured out. In the 15 years, I had owned so many versions or other companies' versions or all the things that are Strats and the words, and because of the words, super Strats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Always implied, this is so basic, go with something so much more dynamic.
Yeah.
And then what happens is when you own, like anything, when you own tons of, even when, I'm not talking about, good guitars, I'm not talking about cheap guitars and stuff, I'm talking about good guitars, but even when you own good guitars, when you own a ton of versions
Iteration
of something,
the same thing,
when you finally touch an original, you go, oh,
That's
I can see, and then it hit me one day, I can see now not what's so much good about the Strat, but why a company would be inspired to copy something of this. And then I just all of a sudden, I settled on Strats, and it just became Strats from then
There
on.
you go.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Very good.
And so like you did touch the building aspect of things and the construction and the way things are done on a Strat that have been copied so many times.
Yes.
Why has that design been copied as much, considering the fact that there are many other ways to make guitars, and it's not the fanciest. I think we can agree on the fact that just bolting a neck on a body, in comparison to like gluing an entire neck through construction or something like that, is simple. So why is it so good then?
Well, you build them. What do you think?
Yeah, true. I'm sorry.
Good question. Well, Buddy Holly, Hendrix, I think the list goes on and on. I think a lot of that is a big influence. The copy of what is popular and what is being seen out there and what obviously sells. I think that was a big influence. But then again, it's a beautiful looking item.
No.
It's a beautiful item.
Yeah, I didn't mean it in a bad way. Absolutely.
No, we didn't take it that way at all.
I love these guitars more than anything. So it's just like on the channel there's Chris, and Chris is a telly guy. He loves his telly more than anything, and I have my Strat, and I've always had Strats, and they're amazing. And yeah, it's. So do you think it's being like we see it that way now because of the amount of people who've been using them and the amount of music that has been created with these guitars?
That's a big factor, I feel.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I use this philosophy. I like it. It's that people don't love guitar players. People love music, right? So I like this analogy. People don't like chefs. They like food.
Okay.
But when you eat food you love, you want to meet the chef. When you meet the chef, you want to know what ingredients he used. And then therefore you start reverse engineering back to where he started. When you hear a song you love, you want to know who played it. When you see who plays it, you want to know what they used to make it. And then you go, oh my God, okay, this is where I want to, you know what I mean? You're reverse engineering. I think that's a normal process. And so I agree with you 100%. Guitar players definitely started some kind of fascination with the instrument by creating great music.
Yeah.
You know, that's where it's got to start.
Yeah. And it's a cool thing to be doing too. Not that being a chef is all right, but being a rock star,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. But so like from like being part of the Fender Custom shop, like from that perspective, how do you guys think about, we could probably try and do it this way instead of this way, or this way instead of this way with times, because that's a guitar, that's a design that is 60 years old and hasn't changed. So do you still try and figure out different ways of making the same guitar, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, right now, I am developing we're calling it the Gatling gun system of making the neck, and it's a
killing name.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fourth axis, machining 6 necks at a time.
Okay.
And it's going to be efficient and a little different for us. And we're going to test it out in the custom shop. I've got a brand new Haas machine ready to go. Everything's there. I'm in the midst of tooling and programming right now. I hope it works.
Okay.
On paper and in theory, it works. In a few months, we'll be actually cutting some wood on it. So we're always trying to change things up. Innovate, both in hardware, electronics, and manufacturing too.
Okay.
Although I will say, coming to the custom shop a couple years ago, I was a little surprised at how much old school technology is still being utilized.
Hence my question, that was coming from there.
A little shocked in this day and age. You would think lots of robots, lots of CNC.
Yeah.
Whew, not that at all.
No.
And you've been through the shop,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
That's what sort of motivated the question, because I walked in there and I'd been to a bunch of different guitar manufacturers in the past, and I walked in here, there was like literally people working on tables with tools. And I know it's another level of guitar building as well, and it takes as much, manual labor and just craftsmanship as possible. But still, it's interesting to me to see how you innovate the means of creating, a guitar that has been made for 60 plus.
Trying to get as much modern technology in there, but it will never get to the point where it's not hands-on after the fact. It just doesn't exist, especially when you're working with wood. You just can't machine it to the point where it's ready for paint. And we don't even want that. We don't want that, especially with the neck shape.
Yeah.
Having things a little different, that's what's great about running the racks and finding one that feels right. When there's some final hand work involved, it's always going to vary slightly from either the person doing it or his attitude or the piece of wood itself.
Beauty of it.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
All right. I got a question for Ron.
On the spot.
So do you get when you build custom guitars and you try to advance the line, advance the guitar, do you get a lot of pushback from customers, not the company, customers? Like what? Yeah. How do customers react to, how far you're trying to take the instrument? How far are you allowed to go, but still not? Because
it's a fine line, especially because we're trying to modify something with a great lineage. It's a fine line. You can't go too far. You can do small little changes like that, little hybrid changes, and that's accepted in a small niche market.
Right.
But we can't go to the extreme, or at least not solely. We can't change things to the point where it's not new Coke and we've forgotten about the old Coke.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for us, for Fender at least. But doing little things, changing it, new hardware, etc., and offering that on the side, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. It's great. Makes it entertaining for us, and you never know. We'll stumble on something that's new and fresh, and as long as some people dig it, I'm happy with that.
We were talking about this earlier, so this is perfect time, because we were talking earlier today about compound radiuses.
True.
And that to me is like a perfect example of a way you can modify the Strat but not affect the lineage, not affect the cosmetic.
Exactly. The
Improve
cosmetics.
performance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think like that stuff is interesting because, like I said, that's a great way to get something play a little different, play a bit a little better.
Yeah.
And stay within the. That's why I'm curious because, like I said, I would imagine pushback is, you know what I mean? You flip the headstock over okay, but if you change the headstock, you're in trouble, right?
Absolutely.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Compound radius. That's a great example because to the naked eye, it's tough to determine that it's there, but under your fingertips, you can feel it.
Yeah.
It's a great improvement. I feel on that particular subject, it's a challenge to do, and which is why it isn't. Probably why it wasn't from the get-go. It's
Right.
difficult to produce. There's, especially back then, swing sanders, the fretting calls, rolling the fret wire.
Right.
Having that change 4 inches up to 4 inches from, say, 10 to 14, every piece of fret wire has a different radius on it.
So I have a question. He can answer. We can see if he can touch you something. So we're gonna assume this guitar is a radius, let's say 9.5 to 12, right? Because that's a common one, because you guys do like 12 to 14, 9.5 to 14.
Yeah.
But we'll say this is 9.5 to 12. Is there like from 0 fret to 5 fret is there a point, where does it start changing?
It's always changing. It's a cone. It's a section of a cone, or like an ice cream cone. It gradually flattens as it goes up the board, and it virtually continues where the radius of the saddles is a continuation. So, for example, 9.5 to 12, the saddles are probably around 15 to 16, approximately. I'd have to do the math, but it's right there, and it's all due to the strings not being parallel. The string spacing at the nut is narrower than the string spacing at the bridge. The strings are splayed out.
Right.
You lay that splay on a cylinder, which is what a straight radius is, and let's say 9.5. You lay that on the cylinder, you can't get low enough action without the middle of the strings on the most splayed. Those will contact the cylinder before the ends do. So the compound is essentially following that splay of the strings, and you can get physically the lowest action with that. And then the bendability is there also because of the flatter frets past the strings. I know, it's crazy. If we had a straight edge and a roll of paper towel, I could explain it perfectly.
We need tools.
No.
Yeah, but you know what? The core,
back to it. No, it is a constant transition, and so when we're fretting it, there's a couple ways to do it. We use 5 fretting calls, 9.5 to 12, and then we have a 10, an 11, a 12. I've got an 8 3/4. So there's a bunch of calls to fret it as we fret it in, and then we'll backtrack a little bit to kind of split the difference on each one. And then when we level it, we use like a beam and we sort of stroke it to follow that cone shape. All that is much more difficult than one radius, where even creating the radius, and then leveling it and fretting it, you can really boogie on a single radius fretboard when you fret it. So, point being, it's much more difficult to fret and fret dress and prepare the fretboard on a compound radius board. That's why I feel it's not.
And this is made possible because you guys are constantly working on new ways of doing this.
Well, CNC technology has really helped with that, because now I can radius a board very accurately with the compound, and I can even machine a bit of relief and a little bit of fall away all at once.
I have, on a vastly different topic, but just because before we started shooting, I asked both of them if they could take one in this room, which one would it be? And Phil sort of said on either this model or the hybrid with P90s, and Ron said hybrid with P90s. Both of these guitars are brand new. They're flawless. They're amazing. They're shiny. And I would have probably gone for the black relic over there. So my question being, what are your thoughts on relic guitars coming from the custom shop? Because we do videos about them, and comment section is raging.
I know. It's a hot topic.
Why would you damage that perfectly fine guitar? And
yeah, I've never heard that. I've never heard somebody
really?
say they damaged it.
Okay,
I was I always hear in context, the majority of what I always hear from people is there's like a poser kind of vibe to it, or a fake to it. You know, you're not being legitimate. You didn't work this guitar, you know what I mean, for 30 years. So that's one of the complaints. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, absolutely not. No, but you both went for new guitars, and I would have gone for this, not because I'm a poser or because I want my guitar to look old, but because having played all of what's a Thomann, my favorites are always this one, and I keep gravitating. Looks completely out of the picture, playing wise, the feel of having a neck that has been, that's not sticky. That's just there.
Like
and
broken. Definitely
like
broken in is
guitar.
definitely a cool factor.
That is a cool factor.
And yeah, I mean, I just think that people who talk about this aspect of custom shop guitars are just people who haven't played them really. But because you two guys took something completely different from what I would have taken, why did you go for something completely new and completely exotic? And
that's good. You
I had the advantage of playing that. That's a Greg Fessler.
Okay,
I played at the shop, so because I saw him build it, and it's right up my alley.
Okay.
P90s, Koa, a chopped telly bridge with compensated saddles. That's all me right there, with some binding too.
And you know what? We should show we don't want to let the audience see this
guitar. There we go.
You're picking up one thing. You're picking up, because I did say I like this too, because I do. This is beautiful. But you're picking up that we picked the shiny ones over the relic ones. But if you notice, what we gravitated to was the slight variations of breaking rules. The P90s, you know what I mean, which are a pickup. The telly style bridge, literally the idea that this is to me, this is a Strat.
Yeah.
But like he was just saying about compound radius and stuff, this is breaking the rules enough to be different, but not enough to where I didn't see it and go, what is that? Mm-hmm. I went, oh, that's a Strat, but it's different. And so that's what, I mean, I didn't get to play it, so I'm sure that, but my logic was looking at it was, it's different and the same. You know what I mean? It's a Strat, but it's something different. And that was the appeal to me.
Okay.
This one, ironically, the reason I said this is because this is the one you guys handed to me, and it plays great.
Yeah. And I bet you that would play great too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, oh, it does.
Yeah.
Played it yesterday, I think, or the day before. But so what you're saying is, I'm not going for that because, like, compared to this choice, it's not a relic versus non-relic. It's more of a traditional versus kind of special, something like a one-off guitar. And also, really interesting what you said. At which point are you going to stop calling it a Strat?
Oh.
Because, it's the shape of a Strat, it's the playability and comfort and probably neck profile and everything. But sound-wise, it's going to be, P90s with a fixed bridge. So, at which point are you drawing the line?
That's probably, is that a mahogany body? What is that?
Oh. That looks like, that's ash.
Right.
With a nice flame neck.
Right.
Ebony board, no arm contour too, which I hadn't.
Yeah, but it has a tortoise shell binding.
Tortoise binding. So is this a Strat? It says Stratocaster on the headstock.
Okay. Okay, no, but that's...
Right. Turn out the lights, it'll look like a Strat.
Absolutely. No, that's one way of seeing it. That's why it's a super interesting question.
It is.
It says Stratocaster, so it's a Strat. Obviously, whatever pickup you put in it. So do you associate it more with the shape of it than the sound
of it? I think it always determines on the player. I like Strats, humbucker single. Okay. And I have been told to my face by people, that's not a Strat. And I'm like him, I'm like, it says Stratocaster. It was on the receipt too when I bought it.
That's great.
But I understand what they mean. It's not traditional enough to be the traditional version of what you believe a Strat is. But so I understand it. See, the way I look at this, like the relic, the untraditional Strat, the traditional Strat, it's just preferences.
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole this is or isn't anything. I don't want to define it that way. I just want to enjoy each one for what they are, and then I have a preference.
It's a beautiful way of seeing things.
When the Stratocaster came out, there was a hardtail version. That was still a Stratocaster.
Yeah.
True.
Where would you draw the line on that?
Yeah, you can't even say the headstock because technically, although the Tele has a different headstock, Jazzmaster and Jaguars, although slightly different, are that same, head. Yeah, so
okay.
P-Bass has that headstock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that is interesting. That's an interesting question. When does a Strat stop becoming a Stratocaster?
Wow.
Yeah.
We could stay there for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Let's just discuss.
It's not an argument.
Yeah,
just
it's not an argument. It's more of a
discussion. Good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Quick break. What time is it?
I don't know.
1:45, almost.
Amazing. We still have quite a bit of
Good?
time. Okay.
Put this guy back.
Probably keep it because we're going to cut that bit.
Sure.
So just okay. I had a follow up at some point.
That's all right. Got a second. Good.
I did. Strat. Stop being a Strat.
When it's called a Silver Sky.
When it's
That would now the internet erupts.
Let's not do that. Let us not do that. No. Okay.
Well, because it's called the Silver Sky. That's the joke, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
When you put a 3 on the side,
And call it something else.
Silver Sky.
It's officially not that.
Something that sounds like Super Strat.
Yeah.
No, it's because I think when you said it says Strat on the headstock, I've always had Fender Strats, but to me a Strat is a sound before being a shape and a name.
We should have said that. Why don't you say that?
That was good.
I'm saying it now.
But we're still recording, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. No, it was just like, but yeah. To me, when I think Strats, I always think of position 4, clean with a ton of reverb on it, and then I kind of associate the shape of a guitar and the kind of playing to that sound. So that's why I think it was an interesting. It's obviously legitimate. If it says Stratocaster, it's a Stratocaster, but I've never quite seen it that way.
Right. That's what's great about this. That's an interesting argument. The tone is what defines it.
That's good. So this would not have that at all?
In my book,
yeah,
probably not.
Okay.
That would also be the logic when somebody says, because I put a humbucker in it, it's not a Strat 2.
Yeah.
I could find that. I could see, and again, now I understand that, and I would say, okay, I understand your logic, because although I do agree with you that it is a tone, it's still to me more of a cosmetic and a look and a feel, but
it's a whole thing.
But it is a whole, yeah.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
So blindfolded, somebody's playing the number 4 position.
Right.
You immediately think that's a Strat.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody playing this blindfolded, you wouldn't.
No,
probably wouldn't know what it is.
Although here's the counter to that.
Okay.
Have you ever had to try and de-strat a Strat for its tone? Like somebody will say, I want, like, you ever shove 2 humbuckers in a Strat and find it's funny that it doesn't sound like a 2 humbucker, it still sounds like a Strat. Like you can literally you can do all kinds of things. Like you said, hardtail. You can play a hardtail Strat. The Strat tone is not coming from the tremolo, obviously, because the hardtail still has a Strat tone. You know what I mean? So you can, it's interesting, that has P90s, but I bet you it still has a Stratty vibe. There's something about the construction too.
Back to this.
This is good. If there was 3 P90s, we could probably
Have the
still get
inbuilt-
away with whack.
right.
And that's it. It was a month ago, and we shot a video in between the Fender Blacktop and the Gibson Les Paul.
Right.
So Blacktop with the 2 and 3 humbuckers, and the Gibson Les Paul, and the Strat didn't sound anything like the Les Paul, obviously. No. But then, because there's still 5 positions on the switch, we put the Strat on position 4.
Right.
And it sounded like a Strat.
Yeah.
It was two or three humbuckers in that guitar, and you split it, and it's
that somewhat validates your
because
idea.
Because I think strings, the sound's definitely coming from the strings, right? I mean, the joke I would use is if you, if I took the strings off of a guitar, it's not a guitar anymore, right? Yeah. Okay. So strings are coming, and things that affect the strings are what's going to affect the tone the most. And so there's probably something in the way that it's designed and shaped and the way it's going on. The strings have a certain tonality, and that, you know what I mean?
Oh yes.
Scale length,
Scale
obviously,
length,
right?
sure,
I mean, that's gonna factor in.
Contouring, the amount of wood, the way the wood is put together, and no, definitely.
So, yeah, because like I said, I agree with what you were saying about sound, but like I said, I've tried, because I like Strats, like the way they feel. So to me, sometimes in a perfect world, I would love to own like 10 Strats, but then have Tele pickups in one, Gibson pickups in another. Like I'd have all my sounds for one guitar, but when you do that, you keep finding out that they sound like just different variations of Strats.
Absolutely.
And you can't, like, that's why I started with the saying, you can't de-strat a Strat. I've tried. Fender has done limited runs. I bought them. Mahogany body Strat.
Yeah. So with set necks.
There's a Strat. There's a guitar. It's not even a Strat. It's called a something Sonic. They only made it like in the early 2000s. It's not a Pro Sonic because that's the amp. It's a
Subsonic.
Is it a Subsonic? It's a 24 3/4 inch scale guitar, and it comes with either two P90s or two humbuckers, and a hardtail bridge. Do you remember this guitar?
Yeah, I remember that.
And it came in red or TV yellow.
Right.
And somebody, when they watch this, will type in the comments. It's something
absolutely.
Sonic, because
Then I thought it moved on to someone else's.
maybe it's a Stratasonic.
That sounds right.
That sounds
24
right.
3/4. I remember that.
Yeah, because I think it's also ebony fretboard, right? But it's kind of funny because it's like same thing, mahogany body, 24 3/4. You can get, and I've tried the P90 one and the humbuckers because they don't make a single coil, and even it has this stratty tone to it.
Yeah.
Because I bought one, like a while back. Like, hey, this will be my Gibson, the Les Paul sound, that feels like a Strat, and it was another nice sounding Strat, but a Strat. So
something special.
yeah, we'll start the internet now with tone shapes.
Tone.
You can get this. It comes from the shape. No,
Yeah.
there's no tone shapes. And I did not start that.
It could as well be a thing. Like it's just a combination of all of that, and going down that road, we could be talking here for.
Well, like I said, you build them. Have you ever had a challenge to do something like that?
I've been surprised a few times. In fact, I always believed that the springs were a big factor of the tone. That natural reverb is a big factor. And I just completed a hardtail, and I played it. Sounded good. I sent it off to my customer, and he made a video, and I commented saying, "That's the strattiest Strat I've ever heard," and it's a hardtail.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there goes that theory.
Okay.
It's a factor, but it wasn't so far removed that it didn't sound. It's an amazing quack, and just like, oh man, Robert Cray, spot on right there. So
Right.
there you go.
This is probably the best conversation I've had in a very long time. I'm really enjoying myself there.
Yeah. Well, that's what's great about this guitar. Let's be honest. There's if there was a Mount Rushmore guitars, that's right. I mean, there's like the Strats obviously on the mountain, right? There's very few guitars that become so crazy iconic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That are going to be on that Mount Rushmore. And that's why we like talking about them. Because
Absolutely.
it's been recorded on everything. It's been used by everyone. Yeah. They're fun. They're affordable. Think about this. Think about how crazy this is. This is one of the few guitars that, in its Fender form, we're not going to talk about Squires. In the Fender form, goes from $400 to $40,000 in every spot. Like, you know what I mean? In between, and that is extremely unique.
Yeah.
Very few guitars can command a range of value of that.
Yeah.
Right? Until somebody types and the Tele. but
The $50,000 Tele.
yeah, right.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up at some point because
sure.
we don't have a limited time. I wish we had. It was amazing. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So much. Both
Thank
of
you.
This is the best.
And thank you guys for watching. We're gonna leave you with some sounds, and that was Phil McKnight and Ron Thorn. I was Guillaume at Thomann, and see you soon.